Hello and welcome to Flicks and Chill with me, Luke. Today I have a very special guest. Jess is here. So Jess, why don't you take it away and introduce yourself, please?
Okay, so hi. If you are um familiar on the Letterboxd subreddit, you may know me as the 127 Hours girl.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I obviously that's like the movie I'm most passionate about, but I also enjoy watching many other films too.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if you know me from the Letterboxd subreddit, that's who I am.
Yeah. And this is how I stumble upon you because I don't really follow Letterboxd on Reddit, but I have noticed more and more like you were popping out and because of your love for 127 hours. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think is it fair to say like you're also known as the 127 hours girl?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been kind of known for
Hmm.
being like that, like even
Hmm.
before I started sharing on Reddit and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And I know, and I thought, wow, seems like a very interesting person. So I just thought, you know what, might as well just, invite her here and see if she's willing to share her story, why it's her comfort movie. So well, can we, yeah, let's get into it. So why 127 hours for, let's say, for people who are not as familiar with you, why that movie?
Well, trigger warning, just in case. Aaron Ralston's story has put on such a big impact on my life.
Hmm.
Um, I watched it when I was 16. This was like 14 years ago.
Hmm.
So, at that time, I kind of felt like I was taking my friends and family and my life for granted. So when I watched that movie for the first time, it really like gave me that wake up call. So, it helped me through like a lot of things in my own life too. Like there was like a time when I was like very, very depressed and I was like thinking about suicide and yeah, it was pretty bad, but like one of the things that helped me get through that time was the movie. So I am very, very thankful that it's such a part of my life, like a big part of my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's I'm very happy that it helped you. This movie helped you. I'm so, happy for that, for you and for that. So, how many I know like you get this question a lot, but like how many times roughly have you seen it? Because I know like just this year you looked at now 500 plus times just this year
Well,
alone.
yeah, so here's the thing. I kept count for the first few years I started watching it and then I stopped because I thought like, okay, I don't think I really need to keep count anymore, but I really wish I did.
Mm-hmm.
So, my guess right now would be like around 1,000 times. Like I said, I wish I had like an estimate amount,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like I mean, before I stopped, I think I was like at around like 500 watches, and I want to say that was like maybe 10 or 11 years ago when I stopped. So yeah, it's been a lot since then. But like since locking it on Letterboxd, I want to say right now I'm at like 341 logs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's insane. That's I cannot imagine watching like, one movie that many times, no matter how much I love the movie. Oh, by the way, I will actually say I am happy that somebody is also plugging in this movie because I felt long before I've, heard of you, I felt this movie is so underrated and it kind of got lost in a shuffle. Because I still
Yeah.
remember, I'm like you, I still remember when it came out, and I actually watched it when it came out and I loved it. And I thought, that's a great movie, James Franco. At the time, that was the peak James Franco, where he was nominated for Oscar. Then he hosted Oscars and bombed the next
Hmm.
year. Then, a couple of things came out about him since when I'm like, oh, it's a shame that, he is who he is in the real life, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but like, again, that doesn't go against this particular movie, which is great, and I think more people should watch it.
I agree. Yeah, I just feel like after James's allegations came out, it faded like more into obscurity because like since that movie is pretty much just him, I feel like not many people would want to go through watching it since
Hmm.
he is such a big part of the film.
Yes, yes, like literally, like w about the 90%, 90, 95% is just him. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's literally like a one-man show.
Mhm.
It's yeah, no, it's insane. But okay, so but let's put this aside and talk about you. So besides this unique thing about you and this extraordinary love for 127 hours, the movie, what makes Jess Jess? So do you, and obviously I'm guessing you also love movies, but besides
Mhm.
movies, do you have any other hobbies? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? Give us a bit of a bit more about yourself.
Well, I mean, the main thing about me is that I have autism.
Hmm.
So obviously, my passion for the movie, that's why it's so strong, is because of my autism. But like, I just consider myself to be a really happy, positive person. I like to have a good attitude about things. Besides watching movies, I also like to watch some TV.
Hmm.
I enjoy YouTube videos. Sometimes I enjoy reading a good book. Um,
Hmm.
I enjoy hiking. Um, I enjoy like going out shopping, going out to eat. Like being out, like doing those social things without without it going like too overwhelming for me.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting you still like hiking even after watching 127 hours for so many times, where you can see,
Yeah.
if you're into extreme version of hiking, bad things can happen to you.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I haven't done any like really extreme hikes or
Hmm.
anything like that. I've only done like moderate to like easy to moderate hikes.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So okay, and so can we reveal, let's say, either like city or state where you based in? Like if
Yeah,
if
I'm from Chicago.
oh, Chicago, nice. So
Yeah.
you're like, I think you might be like the third, fourth person I had on the show from Chicago, so this will
Oh,
be
interesting.
interesting. Okay, okay. So if I
I
were to
like
ask
that.
you, me too. Like I like Chicago. Well, I've never been to the United States, but I like folks from Chicago, and Chicago seems like such a cool place to go.
Mhm.
And hence my question. So if I were to ask you, Jess, hey, I'm gonna go to Chicago for a holiday for 1 week, right?
Mhm.
What would you, are you native from Chicago, by the way? Are you born and raised from?
Um well, I mean, I was born in Chicago, but
Hmm.
I just live in the area.
Hmm. Hmm. But I think that counts. For the sake of this question, I think that counts. You are native to Chicago. That's okay.
Mhm.
So, what would you recommend me to see in Chicago? What would you recommend me to, where would you take me to eat? Like, what makes Chicago a unique place? Or, what would you show me that is not found anywhere else?
Well, for me, Chicago is like a really busy city, but it's a really pretty city. Like just walking around, looking at all the skyscrapers. To me,
Mhm.
that's worth the trip alone. But I would say check out like the landmarks, like the Bean, for example. That's really pretty. Uh, they also have some really good movie theaters, like Music Box Theater. That's a really, really great place. Like, I went there a couple of years ago and I absolutely loved it. Such a really pretty art house like
Mhm.
theater, restaurant wise. I you can't refuse deep dish pizza since it's such a Chicago staple.
Yep.
A lot of people say like Lou Malnati's is the best, but for me, it's Giordano's.
Okay.
That's like my favorite pizza place.
Mhm.
Um, what else? I mean, another thing is like it's not exactly Chicago exclusive, but there's like a chain restaurant called the Sugar Factory. It's like this restaurant where they have like over the top desserts and food items and stuff like that. Like these crazy milkshakes that are topped with like ridiculous things like slices of cake and stuff like that.
Oh.
Every time I've been there, I've really enjoyed it. And they also have these drinks called goblets. So like you can get with or without alcohol.
Hmm.
So when it was my 21st birthday, I actually celebrated my birthday there, and that was like the first time I ever got drunk, and it was like quite the experience. But like even without alcohol, it's like a really cool thing to get to drink because they topped it with like I think dry ice or something. So when they serve it to you, it's all smoky and stuff, and it looks really cool to take pictures and videos of.
Okay. That sounds fancy. That sounds nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of expensive, but to me, it's worth the price.
Mm-hmm. So you are a fan of the deep dish pizza.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know that, talking talking, to another Americans, not just from Chicago. I know it's a kind of a touchy subject because some people love it, some people absolutely hate it. They call it a casserole dish rather than a pizza. So okay, yeah, I would love to go like not just to Chicago, but like to the America in general. But right now, probably not a good time.
Yeah, yeah, with all the stuff that's going on, it's not really the ideal time to do that.
No, probably not. Probably not. Well, see, but you kind of remind me. Well, not remind me. I wanted to touch on something before this. So, like, can we talk just a tiny bit about, like, you mentioned it, like, so you're autistic, right? So,
Yeah.
can we talk about that for like a second?
Yeah, yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay. So, I know there's a spectrum, right? So on that
Yeah.
spectrum, it's very weird for me to ask like how autistic are you? But like I don't like I'm just because like to me like you seem kind of like I hate to use the word normal, quote unquote, but like I just like you know what I'm trying to ask? Like
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
how heavy, I guess. I don't know. How would
Yeah.
you ask it? Like
Well, let me explain.
tell
So,
me.
obviously it's a spectrum, so it's different for everybody. My twin sister, she's autistic too, but she's kind of different from how I am,
Hmm.
just a tad. But I mean, obviously for autistic people, there's like some people who aren't really able to live on their own, function without getting daily help, like um nonverbal autistic people. And then there's other autistic people who are like more capable of living their lives, like getting a job,
Hmm.
living on their own, doing all those things themselves. But I mean, in my experience, so I am more the term used to be high functioning, but
Okay.
that's kind of an outdated term now. It's technically high masking, and what masking is that like when autistic people go out in public, whether that would be like for family events, jobs, anything like that, they would try to like hide those things about themselves to appear more normal.
Yeah, yeah.
So because of that, usually they would get like really burnt out after the fact,
Hmm.
and sometimes they would have to have time to recover. But yeah, like for me, I mean, I do appear a bit more normal, but that's just because I've been really good at like masking all those things about myself over the years, if that
Hmm.
makes any sense.
No, it does. It does. So, like, as far as like quote unquote normal, so you have a job, you can live in a life the way you like without any disruptions and any kind of quote unquote help. I'm guessing so that would be like high masking. Is that what that means?
Yeah, I mean it varies from person to person,
Yeah.
but like for me, for example, I don't live on my own quite yet. That's
Hmm.
the goal, to get to that point.
Okay.
Like within the next couple of years, I think. I hope so, but yeah, right now I have a job. I'm able to like do things on my own, like doing chores around the house, but I don't really know how to pay bills, or I don't have a driver's license yet.
Hmm.
So I need those are things I need to work on.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, to be fair, there's many people who don't drive a car, and
Yeah.
you know, and they are quote unquote normal people. They just don't like to drive a car, or they don't know how. Which not everybody should drive a car. Like that's all I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna say. And I'm not labeling any community. I'm just talking about quote unquote normal people because they shouldn't be behind the wheel.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
I mean, my sister drives, and
Mm.
every time I mean, not every time, but most times when I'm in like, the car with her, she would complain about bad drivers, and
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I can see why like a lot of people would prefer not to drive, but like, I mean, I just want to do that at some point so I can have more independence.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can tell you, I don't live in Chicago. I live in Scotland. And oh, trust me, we have bunch of bad drivers here. I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't be behind the wheel. You shouldn't be behind the wheel. I'm like, oh, man, fuck's sake, like rules are there for a reason, and some people don't follow it. It's just fun times. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, One last question, and I'm trying to word it in my head because I know what I want to ask, but I don't know how to ask it. So, given the current political state of America and certain
Hmm.
people being in power, such
Yeah,
as RFK Jr., and now, oh yeah, they linked autism to Tylenol, aka
yeah.
paracetamol, which is bullshit. But
Hmm.
how do you, as a person with autism, perceive this almost a witchcraft thing where it's like, like in some people's eyes, like RFK Jr., it seems like the worst thing you can be is being autistic. And I'm like, Really? Okay.
Hmm.
So like how do you perceive that because you are actually autistic? So like do you not like taking offense, but like does it hurt like extra? Or like,
Oh,
how do you how do you view it when somebody is spewing such an amount of bullshit about this topic and they don't know
yeah.
nothing about it?
I mean, I think it's totally ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I know that like obviously there would be people out there who would be persuaded by
Mm-hmm.
these opinions, and obviously that's just like really sad to think about, because obviously autism doesn't happen that way. Because like I mean, um it's totally ridiculous that these claims have been made when they're not true at all. And
Nope.
obviously as an artistic person, that's terrible to hear about, because it's like there would be people who probably now think, oh, if I take a lot of Tylenol, if I'm pregnant, my child's going to end up having autism, and that's just not how the way it works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not exactly like I mean, to my knowledge at least, there's not really like a way you can predict that your child could be autistic.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
To my understanding yet, it's not like, there's no correlation to anything. It's basically why many people correlate to like some like, vaccinations or medicine. It's because when the first signs of autism emerge in a baby, that's about the time where they receive the first dose of vaccines. So people correlate those two, but there is no causation. That's never been proven, and yet people still some some people still think it's there, and I'm like, it's not. It's just so to me, it's just so wild. But I'm always like, how do people who actually have autism view this news and these politicians who are now in position of power, where they can actually make laws about, hey, now I have power, so you know what? I'll do this because I can.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I I mean, yeah, it's just a really ridiculous situation,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's just like it couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just like how can you come up with these claims? Like how can you think this way when there's no proof out there?
Hmm. Yeah, it is. Yeah. No, I just wanted to give you a chance to actually, because I don't think I've ever heard anybody from like uh, who has autism to actually speak on the subject. I always hear the politician or somebody claiming this, and the doctors, the scientists, and it's always like, but I don't think I've ever heard like, hey, let's ask the actual autistic person, like, hey, how does it make you feel? Like, when the people say this, but it's not true. Like,
Yeah.
just, yeah, it's just, nah, it's what. So do you, see, one last question about this, and then we can move along. What would you tell somebody like RFK or somebody like him who believes still, hey, if I take a lot of Tylenol, I'm pregnant, my child will be autistic, what would you tell that person?
I would say that don't believe those claims. Listen to actual autistic voices because we do have a lot to say on the matter.
Hmm.
Just don't believe those people who like spill out those lies, like just listen to the actual autistic people out there, the
Hmm.
actual autistic community, listen to what we have to say. And because, in my opinion, our voices are the voices that really matter in this situation.
Hmm. Hmm. And you, amongst many others, are proof that hey, autistic people can still live nice, productive life and be
Yeah.
happy, right?
Yeah.
I think
And sorry,
what gets lost lost in that conversation as well. It's like many autistic people live happy lives, productive lives, are members of
mhm.
society, and like there's nothing wrong about that. Like,
Yeah, and I was going to add that, like, even autistic people are who are like not like me, but like the ones who are non-speaking or non-verbal and have trouble doing things. They live they live really happy lives too.
mhm,
I mean, for them, it's like a lot of people may think, oh, those people may not be living happy lives because they can't speak or do anything I can do. But I
mhm.
can assure you that there are plenty of autistic people out there who are very happy in their own lives because they've got the things that they love and the people that they love and care about. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, and that's awesome. So thank you for that. Thank you for answering my probably stupid questions and actually enlighten me because I've learned a lot. So thank you for that, Jess.
Yeah, of course.
And I think with that we can move to the this or that game where I'll give you two choices and you can tell me which one would you prefer and why.
Okay,
So,
that sounds fun.
okay, let's go. So, Jess, iOS or Android?
iOS. I'm a big iPhone Apple person.
Okay.
I've had iPhones since the beginning, so it's very hard for me to think about changing to Android.
Yeah, so you're like one of the like OGs in that way. So like you've had iPhone since 2007?
No, I mean my first iPhone was the 4,
Okay.
and I want to say that was in 2011, 2012, something like that.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Okay, that's a long time.
Yeah,
Nice. Nice, nice. TV shows or movies?
movies 100%.
Okay, but you mentioned you do watch some TV, right?
Very little. I mean, especially compared to movies, but I mean, I do have some comfort shows, but I don't really venture out much for
Mm-hmm.
TV shows compared to movies.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Tea or coffee?
Coffee. I mean, I've tried tea once and I wasn't a fan of it.
Okay. And how do you take your coffee?
So like I'm a big Starbucks person, so I
Okay.
just enjoy like a nice latte. Like one of my go-tos, especially now with it being autumn, is pumpkin spice. I'm a big pumpkin spice girl.
Nice.
So I always enjoy getting like pumpkin spice lattes with white chocolate in it, and I also like, and even like outside of fall, I enjoy getting like a nice mocha frappuccino, white chocolate latte, stuff like that.
Sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Honesty or other people's feelings.
Um, this is a bit tricky because I mean, for me, with being autistic,
Hmm.
I am more I tend to be more forward and being like really saying what I think.
Hmm.
When sometimes there are things where I should keep those thoughts to myself, but um yeah, like I mean, honestly, hence the question. Honesty is like the best way for me to go.
Yeah. See, by that definition, though, most Europeans I've ever met are autistic because, like, we are very straightforward,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes to a fault. Like, like I also need to work on that. Sometimes, like, I'm like, oh, shouldn't have said that like that. Okay, okay, let me st take a step back and maybe reward myself. So, yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Summer or winter?
Winter, 100%. I do
Hmm.
not like hot weather at all. I can't really tolerate it well, so I thrive so much better when like the weather is so much cooler.
Hmm. And especially in Chicago, you get some cold winters, right?
Yeah, actually, like I want to say maybe 3, 4 years ago. I could be wrong on this, but there was a time where like we had very, very cold weather where the wind chill was like at 30 below.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so that was very, very, very cold. I remember I think I was supposed to work that day, but I didn't feel safe going, so I stayed home.
Yeah, and it's 30 Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah, Fahrenheit.
Yeah, so that's cold.
Yeah.
I can't blame you. Can't blame you. Probably the most important question of them all, ninjas or pirates?
See, I've never really been into either, but
Okay.
I mean, when I think of pirates, I associate it with SpongeBob. So I would
Sensible.
say pirates for that reason.
That is a very good reason. That's like most people when I say this question, most people associate pirates with like Pirates of the Caribbean and those movies. So like, oh yeah, I guess pirates. And yeah, but you're like, oh, SpongeBob, pirates. Yeah, I like that. Okay. And last question, free will or destiny?
um, hmm. I want to say free will
Hmm.
because obviously living the life you want to live and like doing it without like having restrictions, as long as it's nothing terrible, like you're not committing like a terrible crime or something like that. I
Hmm.
feel like that is super important.
Okay, okay. So you don't believe you're predestined to do what are you doing? You don't believe you're predestined to have always loved 127 hours. It was your choice and your free will.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I like that. Yeah, okay. And before we move to the flex part of this podcast, do you have any hot takes or controversial opinions you would like to share with us?
Um, I honestly don't know
Mhm.
because I don't consider myself to have like very controversial opinions on things, like even food related things. I don't think I don't really have anything on that because I mean like for example, like if there's like people who have like weird food combinations, I just think, okay, well you do you,
Hmm.
doesn't
Hmm.
really like affect my thoughts on the matter. But yeah, I don't know if I have any hot takes because I don't know, it's hard to describe.
No, and it's fine. You're a wholesome person. You don't have any It's all good. Like we can skip. That's all good. That means we get to talk movies sooner. So let's talk some movies then, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. So, Jess, what is the last new quote unquote movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So anything 2020s.
Well, the most recent film I rated 5 out of 5 was Weapons.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that in theaters a couple months ago, I think it was, and I just absolutely loved it. I just loved the way that like the story was told through the different chapters and perspectives of all the characters, and it was like a love at first sight film for me.
Yeah, Weapons is awesome. Like I wasn't planning on seeing it in a cinema, and then many people I follow are like, "Oh, this is an awesome fucking movie, and it's a cinema experience. Oh, like it needs to be seen in a cinema." So I went, and it was a blast. It was a good time. I cannot wait to rewatch it. It's like, yeah, it's definitely one of the biggest surprises of 2025 so far. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I have, and yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm the exact same way with you. Like I had zero plans on watching it, but then I saw people talking
Hmm.
about it on like Letterboxd and Reddit, and I was like, okay, I have to see this, and I'm so glad I did because I loved it.
Yeah, yeah, same. So I believe I know the next one, but I'll ask you anyway. So what is the last quote unquote teen movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So anything between 2003 and 2019.
Okay, so I don't know if 127 hours would count for
I
this
It would, yes, it would.
because
It,
they did come out in 2010.
yes, yes. So it definitely counts. And I was like, yeah. This is one of the most more obvious ones, but I'm like, yeah, yeah. And again, I'll repeat myself. Well, actually, I don't have to repeat. I'll make a new point. Danny Boyle, who directed this movie, I genuinely think there's nobody in at current Hollywood like him, where every single one of his movies feel so different from each other. Besides,
Yeah.
like 20 now, besides the 28 days, 28 years later. Like he can make a comedy movie that feels totally different. He can make a romantic movie that feels. He can make great sci-fi like Sunshine, and then he made Sunshine, Slumdog Millionaire, 127 Hours, and then I believe right after it was Trans, unless I'm
Yeah.
missing something out. And those are such different movies from each other.
Mhm.
So I admire, and again, I'll repeat myself this point. Because of you, I'm very happy that more people are aware of 127 hours because I was on that train, well, ever since I saw it. I only watched it once, but I thought it was a great movie. So I'm happy that more people are discovering it. Less so the James Franco part, of course, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean to me, he is such an amazing director
Hmm.
just because like he like brings so much energy to his films, and it's
Yes.
like hard to describe in a way. Like I mean it's just like they're very kinetic, like everyone is, like you said, everyone is different. And I mean, just the way that his filmmaking style is just so unique, and like especially like for example for 127 hours, it's a film that like would have been impossible to make into a film because like Aaron Rosting, he was just stuck there. He couldn't move or anything like that. But yet Danny Boyle put so much energy into that film,
Hmm.
and it's really amazing because I don't think anyone else could have accomplished that.
Yeah, I think you're right because in anybody else's hands, this could almost be like a documentary. And I've seen some like behind the scenes like pictures and like picture of the real thing of a real guy. So they obviously recreated it so well. But Danny Boyle, the way he shoots that movie, even though it's 95% James Franco being stuck in one location and one location only, you're never bored.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that's so unique. It's and like again, and the themes of overcoming this and making your own destiny despite everything going against you. Like it's again, it's a great movie, and Danny Boyle, he's such a great director.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So, what would be the last quote unquote adult movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So, anything between 2002 and 1975.
Let me take a look at my notes because
Hmm.
I did, okay, okay, so that would be, Alien.
Oh, Alien. Nice. The
Yeah,
original Alien.
like earlier this year, I decided to get a library card and I've been renting movies from my local library and I've never seen Alien and I saw it there and I was like, okay, I think this would be the perfect opportunity for me to watch it.
Hmm.
And I loved it because it was such a unique sci-fi film and Weaver, she's a badass. You
Yes.
can't deny that.
Yeah. So that's interesting because this is a second horror movie. So are you big into horror movies?
Yeah, I mean, I was into horror movies when I was a kid. Even like,
Hmm.
um, I want to say Cujo was my first horror movie.
Okay.
I think I was like 10 when I saw it, but yeah, like I've always been into horror movies. I guess like I've been kind of interested in like the more quote unquote gory
Hmm. Hmm.
movies. But like, it's funny because when I watched 127 Hours for the first time, um, with the amputation scene, that did actually bother me. I did have to look away from that, but
Hmm.
it's kind of funny to think because like I've seen some very gory movies, and most of the time, I'm not really affected by them.
Yeah. I think that just speaks to what we talked about before, like the direction and how not only tense that movie is, but this particular scene, it feels like, unlike many horror movies, it's like, oh yeah, they get slashed into bits, okay, fine. But this one is just like you see the nerves, you see everything just being cut, and you're like, oh, and you can imagine this is your hand being
Hmm.
stuck there, and it's just, oh fuck, and just yeah, like I only watched it once, but I still remember that scene. That amputation scene is unnerving in the best way.
Yeah.
So. And to your point about Alien, Alien is a classic. Alien is, if I'm not mistaken, that was the Ridley Scott second feature, right after the he made a Duelist. Yeah, I think Duelist was his feature debut, and I think this was his second feature. And I was like, damn, yep. And ever since
Yeah.
then, we had Ridley Scott being Ridley Scott. So that's a classic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to disagree that it's such a classic film.
And one of the examples where the sequels, you can make an argument that Aliens is as good nor better, or even better. And it's hard to argue with that because I know many people who prefer Aliens to Alien.
Hmm.
So, those two are, 5 out of 5 in my book too.
Yeah, I mean, I did watch Aliens also, but
Hmm.
in my opinion, I just liked Alien so much more.
Hmm. Hmm. So you prefer the more like a claustrophobic kind of horror movie rather than like action sci-fi.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I would say so.
Okay. So that's sensible. Sensible. So, what is the last quote unquote old movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So, 1974 and older.
Um, I okay, let me look at my notes again.
Sure, sure.
Um, okay, let me see. Okay, actually, I think my answer for that would be Bringing Up a Baby because
Nice.
I watched that earlier this year too, and I just loved it. Like you don't really see many comedies like that these days, and it has such a great old timey feel to it, and the performances in it were so good, and the comedy it did make me laugh a few times.
Hmm. And, talk about energy. That movie is like chaotic energy in a nutshell. It's
Yeah.
just so. I'm gonna be honest. I watched it only once. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I need to rewatch it because maybe I was just in a bad mood, or there was something that wasn't clicking with me the entire time. But I remember it was such a chaotic energy movie, and I think there's something to be said about movies, and especially comedies from 30s, 40s that had this vibe where it's like, oh yeah, it's a comedy, anything can happen, right? And it's just
Yeah.
you go along with that.
Yeah, and plus, like, I mean, I don't think a film like that would be made these days either, since like they had an actual leopard.
Yes.
And I mean, obviously, if it was like remade today, surely that leopard would have been CGI.
100%. Back then it's like, yeah, this leopard is well trained. It's not a safety issue at all. And now it's no, no, no. We cannot do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what would you say is your favorite movie decade?
Oh, I may be a bit biased, but the 2010s for sure, just
Hmm.
since
Hmm.
obviously 127 hours, but also a couple of my other favorite films were from that decade, like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish,
Hmm.
Spencer, Florida Project, Social Network.
Hmm. 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 Those are some great picks. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like 2010s, it's a decade where like yeah, the highs are so high. It's very hard to argue against that. It's very hard to say anything negative about it because yeah, the highs and the best movies of 2010, 11, 12 are great movies. And obviously,
Yeah.
like, that's where the MCU, like, even if we go blockbusters, that's where the MCU was at their peak for most of the years. Like,
Hmm.
you get some good entertainment, like blockbusters, but you also get some great movies, like 127 Hours, like Social Network. Yeah, that's solid choice.
Thank you.
I know you didn't have any hot takes before. Do you have any movie hot takes you would like to share with us?
Okay, so when I was thinking about this, I know I have gotten hate for this, but
Oh.
a couple years ago I watched Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, and I know it's like
Hmm.
highly regarded as a classic Scooby Doo movie and stuff. And when I watched it, I just wasn't a fan of it at all.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I think I actually didn't finish watching it just because I just wanted to be done with it. But yeah, I know like people have given me hate for not liking it, and I'm just like, okay, I'm sorry, but it is what it is, you know. I mean, maybe I'll try to rewatch it one day, but I just wasn't a fan of it.
Hmm. So, what was it that wasn't your cup of tea? Do you remember?
Um, I don't know. I maybe I just got a little bit bored of the story or something. I really don't remember.
Hmm. Hmm. Because I am a massive Scooby-Doo fan. I grew up on the original cartoon back when I didn't understand any English. So like I was just watching, nice pictures move and try to follow the story as to best of my abilities. I yet to have, however, I don't I don't think I ever seen any of the animated movies from,
Mm,
back like these are like 90s, early 2000s, I want to say.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I know they exist, and I know they've made quite a few, but I haven't watched single one. I've watched only the live action ones, like the from 2002 and 2004, 5 with, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., all that. But I haven't watched any of those. So, and I know many people love the zombie one. I think there's like a couple other ones that are like quite like highly regarded. But yeah, I need to watch them. I need to get them off my watch list because I love me some Scooby-Doo. Like you cannot go wrong with Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I grew up with those live action Scooby Doo movies, and it's funny because like when the first one was out on VHS, I remember right after it ended, I would rewind it and I would instantly start playing it again.
Hmm.
And it's kind of funny to think that like 127 hours has Scooby Doo in it. So it's funny to think that like with a movie that was such a big part of my childhood is now part of my favorite movie currently as well.
Wait, there's a Scooby-Doo in 127 hours. I must have. I don't remember that. Can you refresh my memory, please?
Yeah, so like the two girls that he meets,
Hmm.
they invite him to a party and they say that there's gonna be like an inflatable Scooby Doo there. And
Ah.
there's a scene where like he kind of like envisions himself at this party and there's like Scooby Doo stuffed toys and there's that inflatable Scooby Doo and then like later in the movie there's a Scooby Doo jump scare.
Ah, okay. See, it was always meant to be for you. It was always meant to be.
Yeah.
Just all comes together. Okay.
Yeah.
See, like speaking to you, you're making me, want to rewatch 127 hours. I'll say that. Like because yeah, it's been a minute. So like I don't remember Scooby-Doo jump scare. I do not remember. Okay, so okay. Okay. Do you have any other hot takes or is that's the only one you had?
Well, this one probably isn't as bad,
Okay.
but there was a horror movie, I want to say it came out 2017, 2018, something like that. I
Hmm.
can't remember for sure, but it's called Lodge. Have
Okay.
you heard of it?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, right now it has a 3.1 star rating on Letterboxd, and to me, I just think it's like a very, very underrated movie, like
Hmm.
one of the best of the 2010s. And I just think it's so interesting, like the way it deals with religion and like it's a kind of like a claustrophobic movie as well, since it takes place at this cabin, and it's interesting to watch like the events unfold, and you see how like things go down, and the ending. It's like something that like you can't stop thinking about for quite some time.
Okay. So is it the one from 2019 with Riley Keough and Alicia Silverstone?
Yeah, 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 that's the one.
Okay. I was vaguely aware of it, but I haven't seen it. But okay, I this makes me want to watch it because it's a spooky season after all. Or when we are shooting this is we are just started spooky season. So, I'm looking for some horror movies to watch, and hopefully this will be streaming someplace. So, thank you for that recommendation.
You're welcome. Yeah, I think it's a really, really good movie, and
Hmm.
I don't think a lot of people have seen it.
Hmm.
And like I know the people who have seen it, for at least like the majority of people, I think they think it's average, but just for me, I love it. It's like one of my favorites.
Hmm. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I think so. With that, I think we can move to the underrated section of this podcast, where I'll ask you, Jess, who do you think is the most underrated actor we have right now?
Um, I had a little bit of trouble thinking about this, but for my answer, hot take, James Franco. I know I'm biased, but like I mean, before all his stuff went down, he had some really really good movies, like not just 127 hours either, but like the Disaster Artist.
Yep. Hmm.
He had Milk and some other films, and he gave some really really good performances,
Hmm.
and like I don't really see many people talk about his performances much, and like even his comedic performances like Pineapple Express and This Is the End. He's really good in those too. So it's
Hmm.
I love to see like that range that he had in his movies, because he really was good at like diving into like these different characters and stuff.
Yeah. I would also add the interview. Like when it comes to comedic performances, he was great in the interview.
Yeah.
On top of those, but I do agree with you. I feel like James Franco. So first of all, on this podcast, we like to separate the art from the artist. So like I totally agree with you. I still remember, by the way, the Disaster Artist. He was the favorite for the Oscar. And it was just in the time where the allegations came to light. And it seemed like that was it. Like basically, if it wasn't for the allegations, I'm sure not only he would have still had a career, obviously, but he would have been an Oscar winner. Like he was
Yeah.
the favorite to be that year for Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
So, and then, once it came out, it went from 10 to -5. It was just like, nope, we're not doing that. But yeah, like unfortunately, that doesn't negate his talent, like because he is, or like well, he was, or he still is, very talented actor. Like Disaster Artist, 127 Hours. I Those comedies you've mentioned, like there was something about him. It's a very big shame that he is a bit of a perf. And I
Yeah.
always kind of think he's in the same way as like Shia LaBeouf, except Shia LaBeouf never, he kind of refuses to go away and therefore continues to making movies. And it's just fascinating, like how some actors are like, no, I'm just gonna battle this and gonna do movies. And some like James Franco are like, you know what? I'm out. Nah, not for me. And yeah, he's just, I don't even know what he's doing now.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, I think there was an article about him that came out, I want to say either earlier this year or late last year. And he did make like a movie, but like I can't remember which country it was from. I mean, it wasn't an American film, but
Hmm.
um, I mean, to my knowledge, that hasn't even been released in the States yet. But I kind of hate to say it, but like with him being such a big part of my overall fixation,
Hmm.
um, I can't entirely hate him. I mean, obviously, the things that he did were terrible, but he played such a big part in my life that, I can't say like, oh, I can't stand him.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, like, I mean, I know people will definitely disagree with me, but that's just how I feel. I'm no way defending his actions because I can't do that.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, like, I don't think you're defending his actions. Like, I don't think, like, again, that's why I said, like, on this podcast, we by me, that means me. I strongly believe in separating art from the artist. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you couldn't enjoy many, many great movies. You couldn't listen to great many songs or CDs. Like, you know, if you want to separate them, great, okay. But if you truly do it, quote unquote, properly, and try to eliminate as many problematic people by not watching their art, not listening to their music, all that, you will end up being very limited to what you can actually watch.
Yeah.
Again, like, I always give this example is, let's say, Lord of the Rings, one of the worst movie just because it was produced by Harvey Weinstein, you know, no, or Good Will Hunting, you know, those movies, yes, they were produced by one of the most horrible person that's, ever ruled the Hollywood, 100%. And he is an awful person by all accounts. That doesn't mean everything he touched now needs to be condemned and we cannot enjoy it. We can enjoy it, but at the same time, nobody's making any uh arguments. Oh, we should give Harvey. No, no, no. We don't give Harvey a second chance. No, no, no. So like, so again, separate the art from the artist. I think
Yeah.
that's the lesson here. Yeah. So, and again, like, and I don't think anybody in their right mind would tell you, oh, you should hate James Franco. No, you should hate what he's done. Yeah, like, yeah, bro, yeah, but not, I don't know him to hate him.
Yeah.
So
And I
yeah.
mean, and a question I've been asked before, I've been asked if I would meet him, and I mean, I did actually meet him once, but this was before all that stuff happened.
Hmm.
But I mean, if you ask me like when those things happened, if I would meet him, I would say absolutely not. I don't want to associate with him or anything like that. But in the years since like I've come to like realize about like how much, like how big of a part he played for me for my fixation.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would be open to meeting him. And I mean, it's not about what he's done, but it's just like about the impact that his performance put on me.
Yes, because again, not, nothing in your life, in my life, in anybody else's life is black or white. There are a lot of shades of gray surrounding us. Not the movie, not the movie, just the actual things, where many things, one thing can be true, or two things can be true about the same thing. Like, he can be a great actor, at the same time, total piece of shit. you
Yeah,
know, this producer can be great producer, produce one of the best few of the best movies ever made, and also a big piece of shit that belongs in jail. Two things can be true at the same time, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, uh, anyway, who do you think is the most underrated actress we have right now?
I don't know if I would say she is completely underrated, but my choice is Kristen Stewart, just because she
Ah,
gets so hated on for like the Twilight movies and stuff, but she does have some really good performances.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because
I've,
like
mhm.
sorry,
No, 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 only go, only go.
I was gonna say, as I mentioned before, Spencer, it's
Mm-hmm,
like one of my favorite movies, and I just really love her performance in that. Like to me, she became Princess Diana. Like,
mm-hmm,
I mean, like it's like a performance you never would have expected out of her. Just like how she nailed her mannerisms, her accent, her voice, all of that. And
mm-hmm,
it's hard to believe that before that she was in the Twilight movies and like where she would be like like not really good per se, like kind of like wooden, kind of like emotionless.
mm-hmm.
So it's like really surprising that she managed to pull off a performance that good.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think now, if somebody hates Kristen Stewart purely based on Twilight movies, I think they've been asleep for the last like 15 years.
Yeah.
Because like she's made so many great movies and gave such great performances. Like I always like to quote, so there's a one movie that still believe is underseen. It came out 2010. So it was kind of on the tail end of the Favela movies. She was still making them. And this is when I saw it right about the time. So and that's why I knew. I was like, oh, this girl actually is not a bad actress. The movie is called The Runaways, about Joan Jett
Oh yeah.
and the band. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw it like a really long time ago, and I've been kind of been meaning to rewatch it. So I don't know when, but I definitely do want to watch it again.
Yeah, and it's like, from that movie, like if you watch that movie and tell me, oh, she doesn't know how to act, like you haven't watched the movie. And ever since then, I'm like, okay, this Kristen Stewart knows how to act, and there's like Personal Shopper is a great performance. Obviously, Spencer is probably the highlight, and she was, it was, that year when she was nominated for that role. If I'm correct, it was neck to neck between her and was it Jessica Chastain who won that year?
Yeah, yeah, she did.
Yeah, I think it was neck to neck. Like, like basically she was in the running until the very end. So I remember, rooting for Jessica because I'm like, Jessica Chastain is great and has been great for the last almost decades now. But I'm like, if Kristen Stewart won for Spencer, I wouldn't be mad. Like, I genuinely wouldn't be mad. I would be kind of happy for her because, like, I think now she's proven herself, same as Robert Pattinson. They've proven themselves that, hey, yes, we made Twilight, but we don't talk about that, okay? That helped
Yeah,
us like carve our names, and then we march towards the future from, off of top on top of that.
yeah, exactly. Because it's like obviously they're different people compared to how it was back then, and
Hmm.
obviously they've gone on to like be in such better projects and where they can really show off their talents well, and they've done really good for themselves.
Oh yeah, 100%. So I think it's a good choice. I think it's a, I don't know if she's underrated, but I think again, like to your point, if anybody still hates her just purely on Twilight movies, you haven't been watching movies for the last 15 years. Because then, like, what are you doing? That's no longer a case.
Yeah.
So who do you think is the most underrated director we have right now?
Um, I don't know if I hope I'm not butchering his name. His name is J.A. Bayona. He
Oh.
directed The Impossible and Society of the Snow.
He is a great, amazing, amazing director, yes. But he also directed, wasn't, did he directed the Spanish movie? Wait, what was the name of the movie?
The Orphanage.
Yes, The Orphanage, yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but I've heard good things about it.
It's honestly, if you're into horror movies, as you mentioned, you are. It's a great Spanish, yeah, 2007, yes, Orphanage. It's a great Spanish horror movie. I watched it a long time ago, so I can't remember the details, but I remember it scared me. But also directing wise, I was like, damn, this is a vibe of a horror movie. And he makes he also is behind there is a TV show called Penny Dreadful, and
Yeah,
he even directed the first two episodes. I'm not mistaken. You watched that?
I have not. I've heard of it.
The first season, amazing, amazing. The next two seasons, oh, something's happened, and you're like, what? Okay, and then it kind of finishes because apparently they were told in the middle of third season, oh yeah, this is gonna be it, even though we've promised you one more season, but this is gonna be it, so you better wrap up everything. And it definitely feels like, oh, they're trying to wrap up everything. The overall show is, it's interesting, but like the first season and Eva Green and Timothy Dalton just very good TV show. And this is what I hoped for when he was announced as the director for Jurassic World, The Fallen Kingdom. I was like, oh, this might be good. And it wasn't. I was like,
No.
I have a theory about that, by the way. I have a theory about that. They locked him in a room for the first two-thirds of the production. And they finally, some intern was like, you know what, we should probably let him out because he's a director, right? So they let him out on the last like 40 minutes when there's the dinosaurs in a mansion. And suddenly that's the kind of horror movie I was hoping for. And I was like, where was this the entire time? When the last 40 minutes of the movie happened, I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted. But it was this for the first hour and a half. I was so mad. Like I seen it in a cinema because I was like, yes, it's him, the guy who did Impossible, the guy behind Penny Dreadful. Yes, let's go. And I was so mad.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I remember that ending was like the whole third act of that was really good, but I just didn't care about the rest of it.
Yeah, the first two thirds is like this is the most generic blockbuster I've ever seen. At least that's what I thought. And I'm like, okay. And then we get into the mansion, and I'm like, ooh, this is kind of spooky. This is kind of okay. I really enjoyed it. And the movie finishes. I'm like, okay. I'm not quite sure about the final minute or two, but okay. And then Dominion happens. I'm like, oh fuck, no. We don't talk about that last movie because, like, luckily he had nothing to do with it. But no, the Boyana, I believe, I don't know. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. He's still a great director. I need to watch Society of the Snow because I heard great things about that. And yeah,
Yeah,
if you haven't seen it and if you love horror movies, watch The Orphanage. Or
yeah.
it's good. It is a very good movie.
I'll add it to my watch list.
Yeah. So speaking of movies, I know the next one is difficult, but do you have one or two movies you would want to shout out as underrated?
Yeah, well, the first one that comes to mind is Mean Creek. It came,
Hmm.
I want to say, in 2004, and it's like mainly like about like these kids who so the story is yeah, like I said, it's like centered about with these kid characters, and there's like a bully who's played by Josh Peck, and this came out like shortly after Drake and Josh just aired on TV. So
Hmm.
he played bully, and he like bullies one of these kids who's like one of Macaulay Culkin's brothers,
Hmm.
and they decide to like pull this prank on him. Like like this kid and his older brother and some of his brother's older like brother's friends. They decide to take him out to this creek and make it like seem like they're celebrating Macaulay Culkin's brother's birthday, when
Mm-hmm.
in fact they're just like pulling this prank on him, and then things go really wrong. It's like, to me, it's like a very, very well made movie because it gets pretty dark, and the performances in it were really good, and like the way it was directed and written, it was really well done, and I don't really see people talk about it, and I think it definitely should be talked about and seen more
Mm-hmm.
because it is very, very underrated.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that to be honest, so I had to IMDb it. And yeah, no, it's 7.1 on IMDb, which for a kind of horror movie, that's quite up there. So that seems interesting. Okay. You said you had another one?
Um, Let me think. I don't know if I had another one, but I mean, Mean Creek was the main one for me.
Hmm.
I guess, I mean, not completely underrated, but another one of my favorites is Speak, which also has Kristen Stewart in it.
Hmm.
Um, it's based on a book, and I read that book in high school, and so like after I read the book, my class watched the movie, and since then it became one of my favorites. Like, I don't know how familiar you are with this movie, but she plays this girl in middle school. Something bad happens to her at a party, and it kind of like leaves her like being mute. So
Hmm.
like she gets kind of like made fun of in school and stuff like that. So it kind of like navigates like her thought process
Hmm.
and like how like she deals with that, and like her performance in that was really, really good. I would say it's like one of her best performances for sure.
Hmm.
Um the thing is, it didn't really get that big of a release because it only really aired on the Showtime network, and it has a DVD release, but really outside of that, um, I don't really think. I mean, obviously, like with the people. I mean, not to like stereotype people or anything
Hmm.
like that, but like the kind of film buffs who like to watch teen related movies. I mean, they've seen that, and I just think that like it should be seen by more people
Hmm.
because I do think it's really, really underrated, and like the way that it deals with the topics that it has.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think it's like very, very well done.
So both movies from 2004, so I can see a theme there. But you just unlocked memory. I haven't seen it, but I remember like seeing the poster for this movie, and so I definitely know of this movie, but I've forgotten until now. I'm like, oh wait, that's I think it's a TV movie, right? So like it's made for like Showtime, so it's made for a TV. That's why it had a limited release, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I
So,
mean it actually premiered at Sundance, but I
oh.
guess they picked it up and
Mhm.
they just didn't give it like a wide release or anything.
Yeah, but I remember hearing about it because like I the one of the first or the first movie I've seen Kristen Stewart in was The Panic Room from David Fincher. She
Mhm.
played Jodie Foster's daughter, and I thought, okay, this daughter is cool. Yeah, okay, okay. And then I haven't seen her until Twilight, and I'm like, oh, this daughter is not that cool. Okay, so obviously Twilight. Uh, but yeah, no, but again, like that unlocked the memory from like 15 years ago where I'm like, I was scrolling through Kristen Stewart filmography and I'm like, what is this movie from 2004 called Speak? This sounds interesting. And I forgot about it altogether. So that's definitely, both of those are definitely underrated, I would say, because I never heard of the first one, the Mean Creek, but the Speak, I have heard of it, but I never seen it. So I'll definitely remember it now.
Yeah, they're both great movies.
Well, thank you for that. I know you said you're not a TV show kind of girl, but you occasionally watch TV? So do you have a TV show you want to shout out as underrated?
Well, with the shows I watch, I wouldn't really consider any of them underrated or anything like that
Hmm.
because they're like more of the mainstream shows. But my favorite show right now is Bluey.
Ah, yes.
I came across it last year and I've just been hooked on it since the beginning, and it's actually my second special interest right now.
Okay.
So I just love how wholesome it is, and like there's some episodes that are actually pretty deep for a kids show. And I just think like if I had that around when I was growing up, I would have like I don't know, like it would have been like really good for me. So I'm glad that it's like around now for this generation.
Hmm. Hmm. You're not the first person to mention Bluey on this show, and I still haven't seen it, but I hear more and more people talk about it, and more people also says the same thing. What do you say? It is an animated show mainly for kids, but you can watch it even as an adult with no kids and still get things from it. And I know some adults, that show made them cry. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm always intrigued when that happens. So I probably need to put it on my watch list because like this, like more and more people they seem to be referencing Bluey. And I'm like, okay, I'm a almost like 34 something year old man who might start Bluey at some point, I guess. Okay, that's gonna happen.
Well, to be fair, I am in my 30s,
Mhm.
so I mean, there's no shame in being an older Bluey fan, in my opinion.
And I have no shame in my life. So yeah, that's I have no shame. But yeah, well, Jess, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for being here. Like, you've been kind and patient enough to answer all of my questions. So before we say goodbye, let me flip the table. And do you have a question or two for me?
I would like to know, what is your favorite movie?
So my favorite movie is this 2003 movie called Lost in Translation.
Oh yeah,
You've seen it.
I have.
How did you like it? And be honest, by the way, I my just to preface this, my best friend, he hates that movie with passion. So like I'm fine. I understand it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I found it to be just okay. I did like the
Hmm.
performances in it, though.
Hmm.
I thought like Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson worked so well together, and
Hmm.
I also liked the overall like vibe of it. But I mean, it wasn't really like my kind of film.
And it's fair. It is definitely a vibes movie where it's like if you look into that, like I always say, like if you look into this frequency, you will love it from the first minute. And if you don't, it will be a very hard movie to sit through because it's definitely I can see it's again, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's definitely mine. So
Yeah,
and yeah, it's amazing.
yeah, I mean, like to me, I mean, I have no hate to it at all, but it
Mhm.
just wasn't like my kind of thing. But I admire it for what it is, and I mean, I totally understand why so many people do love it.
Hmm. Hmm. And yeah, because of that, I'm on a Sofia Coppola like train because like she can do no wrong in my book. Like she's an amazing director. And yes, I still believe Scarlett Johansson should have gotten like obviously she's a A-lister. So she's not done bad for herself. The number one box office grossing star of all time. Obviously she's done well, you know. I still think she should have been given more recognition for this movie particularly because like
Yeah,
Bill Murray seemed to have, you know, Golden Globe nomination, Oscar nomination, and I'm like, and where's ScarJo? Where's Scarlett? Like, eh? And I'm
yeah,
like,
exactly.
just yeah, I never understood that, but hey, but yeah, so Lost in Translation would be my number one. Is
Yeah,
there any
I like
other
that.
question? Is there any other question for me?
Yeah, since I am known for watching my favorite movies so many times, I want to know, which movie have you seen the most amount of times, and if you remember, how many times have you watched it?
So, by sheer numbers, like, so I'm one of those people who watches like Home Alone and Home Alone 2 every Christmas. So that those two movies I must have watched at least about almost 30 times each. But like sheer number wise, it must be either one of the original Star Wars movies, or Mummy Returns, or one of the original three Indiana Jones movies. Because basically, I have a younger sister, and there were only few movies we could agree on to watch like together. And those would be the movies. So like we both love Star Wars, we both love Indiana Jones, we both love The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. So I think those must be up there, like like in double digits for sure. I don't know exactly how many times. I wish Letterboxd existed back in my, when I was like 11 or 12, but it didn't. So yeah, those probably would be that because yeah, I don't unlike you, even my favorite movies, like for example, Lost in Translation, I've only quote unquote seen it four times. Yeah, probably that. Yeah, because I don't want to watch it that many times. Like to me, it loses something special if I were to watch it like once a month or once a year, in a way. So I need to be in a specific kind of mood for it, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it is a kind of a moody movie where it's like, something like Indiana Jones, it's much easier to put on. Something like The Mummy is much easier to put on and just be entertained by it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay. Okay. Any other question?
Um, Let me think. I don't think I have any other questions.
That's
Those were
fine.
like mainly the ones I wanted to know.
That's more than fine. That's awesome. Again, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show and for answering all of my questions. I hope you had a good time. I
Yeah.
definitely did. And if people enjoyed our conversation, where is the best place for them to follow you?
Well, my I would say for sure my letterbox. So my username is literally 127 hours girl. So just search up 127 hours girl and hopefully you would find me. Also, kind of shameless plug, but I have my own subreddit. I mean, I just mainly like to use it so I can post about the movie. So if you're interested in following that as well,
Hmm.
that page's name is also 127 Hours Girl.
Hmm.
So yeah, if you're interested, go ahead, follow me on on those platforms.
Hmm. And I think by the time this comes out, I think we can mention there's also a New York Times article, sorry, coming out about you, correct?
Yeah, I had an interview from with someone from the New York Times. So I don't want to say too many details about that quite yet,
Okay.
but that will be coming out within the next month, hopefully.
So right about, because we are recording this on 8th of October, and I think this will drop like beginning of November. So I think that article might have already come out by the time this episode drops. So if so, I will definitely put a link below to that article because I think I'll definitely read it because I cannot wait, and I was excited when you announced that it's gonna happen. I'm like, okay, that's very cool for her. I was so happy to see that.
Yeah, like that was honestly the last thing I would ever expect to happen to me
Hmm.
because I mean, I was obviously before my letterbox days or my Reddit days. The only people who really knew about my love for 127 hours were my family and friends. So if you had asked me that many years ago
Hmm.
if that stuff, like if all the stuff that has happened to me, if I would believed it, I would say absolutely not.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And see, now because of that article, and maybe tiny bit because of this podcast, many more people will know about you. So, and I think that's very cool. So I'm genuinely so happy for you. Thank you so much for being here. Those links will be down there in the description below, so people can just click on them and follow you. As for me, on Letterboxd in Movies Lost or here every other Friday. And as always, this podcast is part of SPDM Crew Podcast Media, and a special thanks goes to HiFlyer Creative for designing my logo. To see what else they have happening, visit highflyercreative.com. And until next time, bye bye.